Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We arrive at one of the most iconic circuits in all of motorsport. Sport Focus Show for the qualifying at the Belgian Grand Prix. And after the drama we witnessed last time out in Saudi Arabia, the stakes are rising once again. And Eric continues to assert his dominance at this top of the championship with yet another great victory indeed, extending his lead and build a serious momentum in this title fight. But the story behind him is just as compelling too, with Olai breaking through with a sensational first podium, and Lucas producing a stunning stellar drive, recovering from P14 to the podium thanks to a perfectly timed safety car and clinical execution when it mattered the most. And now it's all about one lap pace around here at Silverstone. Over 7 kilometers on unforgiving tarmac. This is the longest circuit on the calendar, a place where commitment, precision and bravery are absolutely essential. From the legendary Eau Rouge and Radion, taken at breathtaking speed to the long Camel Straight, where Slipstream can make or break a lap. Every single lap here, every single corner demands confidence as well. But we're welcome here in this long qualifying session, and we are here at Belgium. So let's get this qualifying sorted, and we'll see what happens going in towards this session. So 3 qualifyings, as you know, the format usually is, but we haven't had 4 qualifying for a little bit now because obviously we had low attendance. So hopefully that sorted itself out. But there's 18 drivers here making it tonight, so hopefully we get a good race. And you know what happens as well in long qualifying? There is 3 people eliminated from the session. Let me adjust the volume there so I can hear myself clearly as well, to make sure everything is nice and clear. So the first driver out on the track is this man, Hatakas, in the Alpine, who hasn't really had a break at all this season in SDN. He has a JSR, but in SDN he seems to be lacking in performance so far, and he hasn't really had the best races either. I don't think he's picked up a podium yet this season either, has Hatakas, so he's still searching for his first podium of the season. Is the man in the Alpine, who we know is a competitive driver from time to time, but he hasn't had the luck or the pace yet this season. So hopefully that springs a fortune for him. And we know that he was a contender as well in the last couple of seasons. He's had race wins before. His last race win was at the Spanish Grand Prix, and what a mega race, because he got knocked out in Q2 but still finished in first place thanks to 3 or 4 safety cars that interrupted the race and transformed it massively too to help him with his strategy call. But I wonder when Hatakas can change his look, because it's been a long time coming for him, and I know in JSR he's quite quick as well, but here in SDN he doesn't seem to have the same look here, so I'm not quite sure what it is here in SDN. But we know that he's a big competitor. He's been on the podium multiple times, has this man Hatakas, a well-known character among the paddock, and yeah, we definitely know that on his day he could produce some stunning drives, and we'll see what this man could do. So 7 kilometers of this track, first introduced in 1950, of course, as we see then the drivers make their way on the circuit. And it's been around on the calendar, I think, almost every single race bar with few, because there were some safety features that were introduced, I think, in the late 70s or 80s. So we haven't had a race yet. We haven't had a race exactly every year out here because of some safety features that interrupted the race. But Hatakas is about to make his way then towards the start finish straight with the DRS flap open in the letterbox as we head down towards turn 1 then. So on board with the man headed down towards the first corner, but locks up and goes deep there, and he doesn't really have the best exit too. So already messing his lap, and the first corner, which is La Source. And it can be quite difficult because you arrive at a high speed as well. You've got to get it slowed down into 3rd gear and on the throttle immediately as the DRS then open on the Camel Straight. We will see some overtaking action, or maybe in that DRS train before we head down towards the con. We go into 4th gear, hitting the apex is very nicely too. Don't be too greedy on the apexes, and I think in Le Com it's where we'll see track penalties implemented, and that could affect people's races massively too. So people have got to watch out for track limits around here, especially in no name too. This left-hander, it does have a name, but I'm not quite sure what it's called. I think it's the Jackie 8th corner now, if I remember correctly. Before we head down towards Pill, we go into the gear, slight lift off there, and down a few revs too. That's where Antonio Giovinazzi crashed in 2019. Then 1 year later, Antonio Giovinazzi crashed here in 2020, where we saw George Russell as Hatakas just flirts with the gravel on the outside too. So not really a specifically tiny lap there for Hattegas. Not what he would have wanted, but Mark was the first one to go on the circuit, as Colin and TVH and Nell already has came to blows in this qualifying session. So not good news either. Not quite sure what those two are doing there, but not something we don't want to see in qualifying, as Kevin Soderberg goes P2, of course, on those intermediate compiler tyres. We're just going back on board with Hattegas to see what he does in the Alpine. He comes across the line at 41.9, so 3/10 away from Mark. So it seems like Mark didn't have specifically a good lap either in the Aston Martin. But of course, this is Q1. This is where the drivers just need to get the cobwebs off them and try and produce some lap time sport. I don't think a lot of drivers will feel pressured in this qualifying session, because we usually know who the suspects are who are getting our tyre Q1, and I hate to name them, but I will do, as we see Sasha coming towards the bus stop chicane. TVH&L is one of them in the Ferrari, and also as well Sheepy Gamer can be one of them, Reiki U, Colin. So I think one of those four will potentially get knocked out in Q1. By the way, we've got a new driver here. His name is Neo Steins in the Sauber, VOT driver. So welcome, Neo Steins. Hopefully you have a good time around here in SDN, and nice to have you around. As Ricky Yu goes P5 in the Aston Martin, the soft car tyres in the 42. So not really a compelling lap time there from those guys. I don't think a 42 is around the territory you want to be around, because that could be on the brink of danger and elimination too. Leonard, who had a decent race in Spa a couple of years ago, but has a massive snap on the exit there of Stavolo, and that snap will hurt him all the way down the straight too, as he applies the battery as Hattegas and Hapmil go up into P2 in the Red Bull 2. Notice I say every single week that Hapmil is still searching for his first win here in SDN. I wonder how long. He's had a drop-off of performance, not going to lie, in the last couple of races too. As we see Leonard then exit the final corner, he goes up into P7 in the Racing Ball and slots it behind Sheepy Gamer, the former Tier 2 championship contender there. But we're just waiting for the main drivers. Our championship leader of Eric is out there, and he has been on fine form so far this season. His 5th win this season, and he continues to just lay down the marker and set the benchmark for the rest of the field. But with the likes of Kevin Zunderberg in this session, I wonder if that will change. Happy Meal says he's doing NA, so I take it no action, as you don't usually get any action, do you, Happy Meal? No, I'm joking. I should have made that joke. But yeah, what's it called? Eric, yeah, I think he's got a big challenger in the name of Kevin Zunderberg. Don't get me wrong, other people too are big challengers, like Mel's Makis, Kick, Lucas, Hattegas, Sasha, Mark. Mark is like a enigma. You just don't know with Mark, because he just sometimes like surprises you at one point, then other points as well he just messes up and just loses his momentum. So you just don't know with Mark, because he's just an unknown. I think if he puts the practice in, I'm lying this race because I know practice, says Happy Mill, but if Mark puts the practice in, has a level head and just has a bit of patience with him, then I could see him being at the top of the field. But he just hasn't really stepped up to the mark this season, without a pun indeed. But we'll see how he does here. It's currently P1 with a 41.620. All you're looking to do is safely make your way towards Q2. And for the drivers who definitely can make their way into Q2, they don't have to sacrifice a set of the soft power tyres. They just maybe need to use one. You don't even need to go as fast as you can. Just make it way. I know it's hard to say for other people, but just make your way safely and securely for the people that don't need to risk and push it all, because sometimes the greed and the ambition can get ahead of you sometimes, and you can mess up by invalidating or just on the power too early, or dipping it in the gravel, etc., or spinning. But all you try to do, try and get a reference point, try to have a pointer, just a benchmark, which you really need to do as well. But coming towards the end of the first sector for Eric is a 30.3 as he flicks the car going in towards the calm now in 4th gear, and very nice indeed. The car complying on the racetrack, seems like it's on rails so far. Before we head down in towards Rivage, we go this downhill right-hander where Lewis Hamilton went. Oh, we almost lost the car. He lost the car, did Eric, on the throttle a bit too early, but he still continues with his lap time. Like I said, he just pushed the limits a bit too hard there, especially in the first part of qualifying. And if you mess up as well, you're guaranteed to continue messing up, because you just lose your focus and just lose your bearings a bit too as we head down in towards the final chicane. Was it Manso who crashed there, and Senna? I'm not quite sure who it was who crashed there, but it was a long time ago indeed in the 90s. But Eric then a 30.857 in this middle sector as we continue riding on board with the Red Bull driver who still continues with his flying lap. Eric picks up a distance slipstream off the back of the Williams driver who just pulls out the way right now. Hopefully he gets the way. Yes, he does. Otherwise that would be a penalty. As now we slam the anchors going down in towards the bus stop chicane. What lap time is this going to be from Eric? The car wobbly in the exit of the final corner. He goes up into second place, only 8 thousandths off Marcus Boss. So not too far away from where he needs to be, on board with Neo Steins going down in towards the bus stop chicane. He goes. Let's see what he could do. Gets an Alpine in the way though, so not really preferential for him, as he stamps the loud pedal and goes quickest with a 40.988 and smashes it at the ballpark there. What a great lap time indeed there for Neo Steins, and he already looks like a competitor in this lobby then. So that's going to be very interesting to see how he does in the race. The two Mercedes boys of Fireblaze and Mels Marquez now on their flying lap. Of course, Mels won the Mexican Grand Prix and Fireblaze finished in P3, but Fireblaze for the first time this season had a dismal race back in Saudi Arabia because him and Happy Meal made contact on the final corner during the safety car restart, which really put Fireblaze down the order and ruined his chances of a potential podium and scoring good points too. So that's the first time this season we saw Fireblaze shuffle down the order, and it was a shame too for the Dutchman there, who's been on fine form this season, as the Dutchman makes his way now towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. We'll see how he does. He's currently P2 of the championship, goes up into P2 with a 41.493 there, so he should be safe heading in towards Q1. I think that's Kick or Lucas right behind. Lucas is in danger, but of course hasn't really set, as Mels Marquez in the other Merc goes up into P2. And once again, the two Mercedes boys looking very strong in this qualifying session. We go on board with Kick now to see how he does coming towards the final two quarters on this racetrack. That's Sasha in front of us. Here comes Kick. Kick goes up into P3 with a 41.351 ahead of Fireblaze there, so he separates the two Mercedes boys as the other drivers they're making their way or starting their final flying laps in this qualifying session. It's a long track as well, obviously, 7 kilometers long, as Kevin Zunderberg now makes his way towards the line. He goes up into P10, so that's not really Kevin Zunderberg territory, it must be said. I don't think he's done any practice. He did send me a message, but I didn't quite read the rest of the message out, so I'm not quite sure if he has done any damage, any practice or not. But once again, his pace isn't really convincing there in the Alpine, so I really hope the Alpine driver can find some pace there, because he looks like he's struggling. Or maybe he's trying to get to grips, because he said he hasn't been on the PS5 for a little while too. So the people, as Neo Steins retires in this qualifying session, he knows there is no need to risk it. He knows there's no need to go out there and waste a set of the soft compound tyres. Just in the garage, relax a bit, put your feet up, and just chill out before the qualifying session is over into Q2. But the people who can't chill out is the likes of Colin. I dare say Arline Lucas. They've definitely got... Oh, Colin, massive slide there, and he almost spins the car again. And he loses the rear grip there as well as Colin, and he comes across the line now to go up into P16. So, the likes of TVHNL, Ricky Yu, Colin, Olai, and Lucas all in danger. This man's in danger, Lucas, who validates his lap time, and he's only got about one more lap or two potentially. So, Lucas is in real danger of being knocked out in this qualifying session. Happy Meal feels is safe so far, but Lucas is not safe, and this could put a massive dent among the pecking order here, as Mels Marquez has retired too. As Sasha goes up into P2 in the Ferrari, so great lap time there for him. He won the Australian Grand Prix, did Sasha. I need a charger because my phone is dying, so just bear with me for a few seconds. I'm going to get it very soon. After this qualifying session, I will get a charger and charge my phone, because I need it, because I need to read out the stats, etc. So, but yeah, Sasha did win the Australian Grand Prix, and I thought for 1 second as well he did finish P3 in USA, and I thought he'd be a real competitor and challenger this season. He has been, but it hasn't really been it hasn't really been the showing I thought he'd show this season. He's had some good results recently, but had a little bit of a step back recently, it must be said too. But he's had some podiums this season. He's been on the podium quite a lot of times this season, has Sasha, but hasn't had a win since the Australian Grand Prix. So currently P2 behind Steins, who set that blistering lap time of a 40.988, and he should be the one to look out for in the race 2 as Olai goes up into P8 in the McLaren. Let's go see what Leonard does in the racing ball. Leonard is 3/10 up in the first sector, so already showing some good signs there as he flicks his way now towards No Name. Down the hill we go towards Puon. We saw, I think, Pastor Maldonado crash there too before Puon because he went off the track as he took the grass on the outside, which just lost the balance of the car. But Romain Grosjean in the Lotus Mercedes scored a podium too in 2015. I think Sebastian Vettel put a puncher, didn't he, in 2015? And Romain Grosjean scored a podium for Lotus because it was a very bad year for Lotus that year too. Although the two Lotuses of Maldonado and Grosjean did score some good points, but overall it was a bad season. And 2014 was a terrible season too because they barely scored any points for that terrible Renault engine and car. I think Grosjean scored 8th place back in the Monaco Grand Prix, but I can't remember anywhere else. As Leonard heads down towards the final couple of corners in this racetrack, the Buster chicane, we're going to slow it down, and it's very easy to mess up too because your tyres are super hot on the stage. Here goes Leonard towards the line, he goes up into P9, so safe now, but when it comes to Q3, he might not be safe. So the people we are looking out for is the likes of TVH and now Tim, Renault in P16, Renault, Howard Van Kimberley, Colin and Lucas. Now you think that Lucas, with the pace he has, should be able to make his way through securely, but he looks like he's on the periphery of getting knocked out. Stefan is not looking safe either down in P14, so I wonder, Kevin Zuckerberg and Sheepy Gamer have retired. Let's see if the likes of TVHNL, Ricky, Colin and Stefan become a threat, because Sheepy Gamer could be in danger. I think Kevin Zuckerberg could be safe, considering a lot of times TVHNL, Ricky and Colin are showing, but Lucas is a big shocker down there in P18, so he needs to be careful. This lap time has to count. On board with the Williams driver as we head down in towards turn 1 we go. Slams the brakes on, headed down towards the first corner. Mark says share the stream, so my apologies, Mark. Are you not competent enough to share the stream? Boy, why don't you share the stream, mate? Because you're in the chat right now. But on board with Lucas there with the DRS wide open we go. This has to be the lap time that counts, because if he messes up on his lap time, that means he will be out of qualifying as we head down. Is my post not shared? Is my post not shared? Please tell me it's shared. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mark? Right, so you can hear me. I don't know why you said share your voice, because you made me panic there. I thought my voice wasn't shared and I was talking the whole time. So, yeah, I don't know why you said share your voice, because I thought my voice wasn't coming through. So, yeah, that was a bit of a panic moment there. Apologies about that one, but let me get everything sorted out first. Mark, you can't be saying things like that, mate, because I thought my voice wasn't shared. But anyways, heading down in towards the Buster chicane. Is this lap time? Oh, Lucas slides through the Buster chicane, but it's good enough though. He just needs to make his way through Q2. The DRS is wide open. Where can Lucas go? Up into P9, and he is safe for the time being then. So panic over for Lucas, but it may be panic stations for him in Q2, trying to reach the Q3. So the battle for P15 is well and truly underway, and I wonder who will get it. Stefan is on the cusp of being eliminated there in P15, but these guys are 1 second away from Stefan. That's a massive margin, so I wonder if these guys will be even a threat into Q2. But just let me there we go. Everything should be sorted now. So, TVHNL is 2/10 up in this middle sector, but it won't be enough to dethrone Stefan and lock him into Q2. Ricky Yu is also out there headed towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. We'll see if Ricky Yu can make it through. Goes deep in the Buster chicane, messes up and completely spins to the car. So, on board with TVHNL as he heads towards that yellow flag zone where Ricky Yu is right now. Towards the final corner he goes. Let's see what he could do. Can he make his way through Q2? The answer is no, he can't. He stays P16. And the last threat is Colin, and I wonder if Colin can make a breakthrough in towards Q2, but I don't think he can, and definitely can't right now. So those three are not out in Q1, and there you have it. these guys are not out in Q1. Colin, Ricky U, and TVH now are not out in Q1. That's the end of the first qualifying session. We'll be back with you in Q2. Don't you worry, guys. I am here still. I just had to get my takeaway. There's a massive bang on the door, and it was my takeaway. It was supposed to come in an hour, or I ordered it. But I forgot one thing. I forgot my charger. I was supposed to be my charger upstairs. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure why I forgot that. But we're now in towards this Q2 session then, where things will get spicy because in Q2, that's when the stakes are higher because obviously a lot of these drivers are close in pace as well. So we might see some surprises being knocked out in this qualified session, and we'll see who can make it through and who will be knocked out in qualifying then. So let's see who should we ride on board with first, because all the drivers are in one big traffic jam. Let's go on board with the champion from last season of Kevin Zunderberg. He took 10 wins last season in the feature races. In the sprint, he took a few wins as well. And he has been a mighty driver ever since as well. But this season, he hasn't really had the pace. Well, he has, but he hasn't really turned up as well because he's not done as much practice as he usually does Kevin Zunderberg either. So, as he makes his way now towards the final couple of corners, starting a flying lap around here in the Belgian Grand Prix. We'll ride on board with Kevin then to see how he does before we head down towards turn one, slamming the brakes there. Want to nail the apex as much as you can, but he goes a bit deep in towards the first corner as he tries to scoop the car up, get back to the throttle without suffering with any wheel spin as we now head up towards Eau Rouge and ready on a flat out corner through here. It's nice. It's so steep through there as well. It doesn't look like it, but it is so steep towards the top of the hill before we have the DRS wide open on the cobble straight we go. Not really using any battery on this straight either, so we tried to use the strategy wisely. Let's use the battery wisely before we head down towards the con we go. He slightly messed up in the first part of the con, but hooks it up very nicely too. Before we head down towards Reforge we go. And down to the gears, hits the apex as well as before. Just trying to build up the throttle on the exit there. Before we flick our way now towards the left hand, here we go. Carrying a minimum speed through the corner. Before we head down in towards Pure we go. Kevin Zunderberg, I don't think he hasn't had a win yet this season, which is surprising. Kevin Zunderberg hasn't won a race yet this season, which is quite surprising indeed, as I'm looking at these results here. So he's still yet to win a race. But of course, below the podium, back at the Austrian Grand Prix, when he was chasing down Ben Hertz. He's at the podium back also at the US Grand Prix, but still yet to win a race is our defending champion. But in terms of the championship this season, it's looking very unlikely that Kevin will win. He is so far behind in this championship battle. He's P7 and he's got 63 points to his name too. So he's so far behind in the championship. Now we're on the brakes, heading down towards the Buster chicane. We want to ride the curve on the entry and be very smooth too. Don't be greedy on the curve because it will throw the car off balance. But this is a 42.3, so not really a lap time we've seen in terms of Kevin's standards. Sheepy Gamer is the next one to cross the line as he opens the DRS in the back of the Sauber as he crossed the line with a 42.8. So these are an old set on the stock car power tyres there, and this is what the strategy is. As look at that, wow, 2/10 quicker than his best in Q1. This Sauber driver of Neo Steins is absolutely flying around here, and he loves the Belgian Grand Prix as well, so has a clear gap over the rest of the field. Of course, that's a brand new set of the soft car power tyres, as Miles Marquez goes P2 in the Mercedes with a 42.226, as most drivers like to go on a set of soft car power tyres, as Steva goes P2 as well in the racing ball, but most drivers like to go on an old set of the soft car power tyres at the very start of qualifying, because they don't want to use it later in the early part because of track evolution, etc. So they're just waiting for the final part of qualifying where the track is at its best in terms of the rubber laying in, etc. The track overall getting better as well. Mark going to the first sector now with a 30.3 in P13. He wasn't really safe in Q1, was he? So he's also, you know what, it's going to be very, very interesting to see who makes it through in towards Q2. And I honestly don't know, because these guys are super close in terms of pace. 1 or 2 tenths can make a big difference here in this qualifying session, and Q2 as well, where the pressure is now more turned up, because Q1 for most people is a laid back session, because people know, especially these people can know, they can make it through Q1 very easily, considering how the deficit was between the guys at the back of the field. But in Q2 now, where the pressure is ramped up and all the drivers start pushing harder and harder and on the absolute edge of making mistakes too, it's all about who can try and maximise the lap time around here in Belgium as well. Who can push the limits and who can find the boundaries without overstepping it and making mistakes. But let's see what Mark does then. Presumably on an old set of the soft car power tyres, as now he heads down towards the Buster chicane, flicks the car in, keeps it nice and tidy as well. It's so easy to overdo it. Mark goes up into P2 with a 41.3, so that's a decent lap time for him in the Aston Martin. But obviously these guys are further behind the field will go over to a brand new set of soft car power tyres later in this qualifying session. Eric now plunges downhill towards Varge. This is where he made a big mistake in Q1, but this time not too greedy on the throttle there. Picks it up very smoothly and gingerly too, as he uses all the track limits too. Tries to use every single part of the track he can get away with this. The Dutchman now flicks his way in. He didn't even lift on the throttle there. It's flat out through P1, but unfortunately in F1 this year, I don't think it'll be flat out either, as he now makes his way towards the final chicane. I don't really like the chicane because it really throws me off guard, and you got to really nail it too. Open up the apex in towards the final chicane, try and sacrifice a little bit, slow it past that corner. This is Stavlo, easy flat out corner, but I've seen many people before in the past crash out in Stavlo, and it's so easily done too. You can lose the back end of the car with understeer, etc., with the trail of the dirty air with the guy in front of you. So Eric has used all of his deployments before we head down now towards the final 2 corners on this racetrack. Nice and tidy, a bit of wheel spin as he makes his way towards the line, a 41.0, and that lap time is better than the one in Q1 by a fraction of a second too. So Eric is definitely safe, I dare say, in this qualifying session, as Kevin Zunderberg is on an out lap there in the soft car power tyres. I think this could be a brand new set of the soft car power tyres, it seems. So Kevin pulling the strings early here and going out relatively early in what we usually see. Most people leave it towards the later parts of the qualifying session. So who is in danger now? Happy Mill, Leonard, Olai, Hatakas, who has a set lap time. Kevin Zunderberg is in danger. Fireblaze, Lucas, Miles Marquez. What is the cut-off time? And the lap times we saw in qualifying 1 were in the 41, so there's a lot more to come from the guys at the back of the field there in the midfield too. So don't be too surprised about these lap times, because they were set on the old soft car power tyres. Watching Kevin Zunderberg then about to start another flying lap. on this set of the Soccer Bar tyres as we ride aboard with the Dutchman once again. Last season champion, PSGL driver as well, heading down in towards Tier 1. Nice exit there too, a bit of wheel spin, but that's just enough there. He connected with the apex very nicely through too. I just had a drink of water and already I'm starting. I think I've drunk too much water and therefore I want to cough, so I'll be right back. Already a 10th up in the first set, so good showing there for Kevin as he opens the corner up through turn 7 at the top of the hill before we punch down once again in towards turn 8. This slow speed right-hander, which kind of catch a lot of people out too. It's all about patience through here. And open up the right-hander too, flip the car and get the nose points in, using all the curve on the exit too, as we head down towards P1 once again. There is 5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, and we'll see what the rest of the drivers can do here. This is where the boiling point now starts to reach its climax, as we see Kevin Zudderberg flip the car in, thread the needle through the final chicane, before we head down towards the triple right-hander we go. We saw Narain Kartikeyan, who lost it there, didn't he, in 2012. He crashed heavily into the wall in that year too. That 2012 as Mark Ollai goes up into P4 in the McLaren Mercedes then, so what's a great lap time for him indeed in the McLaren. But Kevin Zudderberg, our last season champion, is headed down towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. A bit hesitant too. We almost invalidated two on the edge of there, but just got away with it. And Kevin Zudderberg now reaches towards the line. It's a 41.266 there for Kevin Zudderberg, so a little bit better, but still a bit concerning in terms of reaching Neo there. Nobody seems to be touching Neo so far in first place, as we see Lucas and Happmeal on their flying laps. The Dutchman's headed down towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack indeed. And we'll see what Happmeal can do. Can he get himself inside the top 10 in this qualifying session? He can. He goes up into P6 behind Ollai, and he pushes Fireblaze out. Fireblaze is still in the pit lane, and we're reaching towards the end of this qualifying session then. So both Mercedes on the periphery and the bubble are being knocked out. Sasha doesn't look safe either. Neither does Sheepy Gamer, Leonard and Lucas. None of these drivers look safe except Neo and Eric, I dare say. But here comes Lucas now towards the line. He goes up into P5, and this time it is a much better qualifying for Lucas. It was a bit scruffy in the first part qualifying there, just trying to get rid of the ring rust. But in the second part qualifying, seems to have some fouls of pace in the Williams there. Here we are with Sasha. He's 7/10 up in this middle sector. So this is a really good lap time brewing for Sasha in the Ferrari. And we'll see what he could do then in the Ferrari, because he's won the first race this season, but hasn't had a podium in the last couple of races. Hey Jamie, hope you're doing well, mate. Hello Glowstick, nice to see you, mate. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're doing well too. And hopefully we'll speak soon. Here comes Sasha towards the final corner. DRS wide open for the Dutchman. He goes up into P3, and that is actually quite a good lap time there for Sasha as well, considering he struggled in Q1. So well done to Sasha. And there is 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go on the clock around here in Spa. So most people leaving it late in this qualifying session, especially for the guys at the back of the field, because it's a long lap, and if you make a mistake, that could be very costly indeed. It's 7 kilometers this track, and it takes a long time for an outlap and inlap as well. So Fireblaze, Sheepy Gamer, these guys who have come out right now can't afford to make a mistake, especially towards the last part of qualifying, because if they make a mistake, that's their qualifying prematurely done, and they've got to absolutely nail the lap. We know Fireblaze is not a strong qualifier. He does struggle in qualifying. He's not really inside the top 5 qualifying, but his race pace, his racecraft is absolutely stunning as well, and that's where he's very strong as well. So it does level it out. But it's super hard to overtake around here, ironically, in Belgium. It's a long straight towards Eau Rouge to the Com, but it's difficult to overtake around here too. So that's why qualifying is pivotal for the race in every single race, including Monaco. I've not played for 4 weeks, and I have a completely new setup. I'm just guessing where to break. So that explains why Kevin Zudderberg is struggling. But Kevin's doing a good job so far. He hasn't played for a month, and yet he's super quick. Kevin Zudderberg will definitely find some more pace in later on in this qualifier session, but our eyes are focused towards Stefan, Kick, Mel's and Fireblaze. Sheepy Gamer has started his flying lap time, the former Div 2, championship contender as he heads down in towards turn 1. He hasn't really taken part much this season. He was a big contender. Him and Happy Meal had a big fight in Div 2 a couple of seasons ago, but they've been promoted towards Div 1 as he climbs up towards the hill where Kevin Magnussen crashed back in 2016, and that was a massive crash indeed. A lot of drivers not really a modern day F1, lose up there in towards Rouge and Radion. I think the last time I've seen a driver lose up there was like Lando Norris in 2021. I can't really remember the recent times. Obviously, I don't want to mention the main one, but yeah, out of respect, I won't do. But if you guys know what I'm talking about, Charles Leclerc won the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix after a stellar performance for him in the Forest. His first win, but like he said, it wasn't really a race to remember for him because obviously what happened in 2019. But Sasha has retired from this qualifying session. He should be, yeah, he's definitely safe in P3, so there's no need for concern for him. He can relax a bit before Q3 starts. But the people who can't afford to relax are now out on the circuit, and this is where things will get critical in this session. Neither driver, nobody can make a mistake because that could be their territory, their story for qualifying. But Sheepy Gamer, look at that, 9/10 up in this middle sector. I think he needs to find a bit more time in this last sector if Sheepy Gamer wants to have a top 10 start. As we now head down in towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack, the Kickstarter driver, let's see what can he do. He's been knocked out in Q1 previous times, has Sheepy Gamer. So Q3 would be an absolute miracle for him, but he has a massive slide out the final corner. Goes up into P9. Sheepy Gamer is inside Q3, but for how much longer? Because people out there are on a personal best. Esteban, Kick, Miles Marquez has it validated. Wow, Miles Marquez, the Mexican Grand Prix race winner, has invalidated, and he goes off where Schumacher went off too, back in 2011, where Schumacher went off, I think, when he has a massive crash in qualifying or practice. But Fireblaze, his teammates, can he make his way through Q3 now? The Dutchman heads towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. Keep it nice and tidy, which he does do. Opens the DRS, back in the throttle he goes. He goes up into P5, and Fireblaze will be very happy considering he's not a really strong qualifier. Stevan goes up into P10. Stevan is on the brink because Kick behind him is 6/10 up in the middle sector. Hazagas goes up into P12. Once again, gets knocked out in Q2. But here comes Kick. Kick goes up into P2 with a 40.963. And finally, somebody else is inside the 40s as well. That's Q2 done and dusted for now. The biggest shocker for me is Miles Marquez, the man that won in USA, the man that won in Mexico, has been knocked out in Q2, the man that finished on the podium almost back in Saudi Arabia too. And what a shame for Miles Marquez as well, because he needs those points to try and keep the championship aspirations alive for him. Well, Miles Marquez, the biggest shocker here in qualifying, has been knocked out. And that's the biggest surprise as well. P4 in the Drivers' Championship, or P3, sorry. He's 4 points behind his teammate Fireblaze. In fact, I haven't read out the championships added just yet, so let me just read them out for you right now. So Eric has a commander lead. Eric is first with 165 points. Behind him is Fireblaze in P2, 109 points. Fireblaze hasn't won a race yet this season, but he's had loads of podiums and a string of consistency, which has enabled him to be up into P2 in the Drivers' Championship. Miles is P3 with 105 points, 4 behind Fireblaze. Kick is P4 with 97 points. Sasha is P5 with 94. Lucas 69 in 6th place. Kevin Soderberg P7 with 63. Christian 8th place with 63. Olai with a podium back in Saudi has really catapulted up the order in P9 with 44 points. Finn Hertz P10 with 27. Stefan is P11 with 19. So dominated Q1, dominated Q2. Can he make it 3 for 3? Will the pressure ramp up for him now? Can anybody else behind him challenge him in this qualifying session? And the VNT driver has made a statement so far and has really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons and has unstable a few drivers too. But we move on to Q3 and we'll see what happens in this qualifying session. Glowstick, do you remember when me and you commentated for Spa? Was it CRL? It must have been Spa, because I do have a memory of me and you commentating around here in Spa. It is only me today. My usual co-commentator, Milan Langer, is in Germany at the Nürburgring. So I really hope he has a major time there. He's driving with his father. So hopefully he doesn't crash, and hopefully he has a mega time in Germany indeed. Last time we commentated the Belgian Grand Prix, I think it was wet. And what a race that was too. F1 Shorts won a fantastic race and beat Eastbound on strategy too, because he pitted at the right time and he beat Eastbrand and also F1 Shorts. That was his first one and only win here as well in Belgium. But we move on to Q3 then. There is 12 minutes in this qualifying session, and we'll see who takes pole around here at this 7-kilometer circuit around here in Belgium. I'm wondering as well, who has got 2 sets of Soccer Power tyres in this qualifying session? Because I know other people like, for example, Mark, possibly, Lucas, Sasha, Olai, Fireblaze may have to use more than 1 set in Q2, so I think other people could use more than 1 set. Maybe have 1 set in this session. People like Steiny could have 2 sets of Soccer Power tyres left in their disposal to use, which is going to be beneficial for him and going to do him some due diligence in the session. But he's been blistering so far. Can anybody else challenge him in this qualifying session? What about the likes of Kick? What about Kevin Zuderberg as well? Kevin Zuderberg hasn't raced for 4 weeks, and yet he's been super quick. With no practice already, his outright pace has been tremendous so far. He's just got that talent, hasn't he, whenever he steps on the game, and he's just immediately on the pace as well. To be fair, we commentated a lot together, so my bad if I can't remember everyone. Yeah, I can't remember everyone as well, but I do remember Imola when we talked about something else. We talked about Belgium. We've commentated a lot of races, but I can't really pinpoint. I do remember me and you commentating around here in Belgium at one point, but I don't know when. It must have been a long time ago. But yeah, Glowstick, I'm really glad that you're okay. It's been a long time since I've spoken to you, and a driver, a former commentator too, I've commented alongside. So yeah, nice to see you in the chat, and hopefully you're doing all right, mate. Hopefully we have a chat soon, whether it's a party or not, I'm not sure. You can always message me on Instagram too. But back towards the action then. Every single driver bar Eric is out there so far, but Eric has left it late. Eric has left it late. So I wonder if he has maybe used a set of the old set of Soccer Power tyres, who knows. But let's go aboard with Neo. This should be a blistering lap time there, and we'll see how he does. Headed down in towards Tier 1, looking at the 100-meter board on the brakes, slow the car down into first gear, just missing the apex, but you don't really have to hit the apex in towards Tier 1. There is numerous lines you can take through there, as long as you can get back on the throttle and don't go too wide in towards Tier 1. Now, coming through Eau Rouge and Ratop, flat out up towards the top of the hill, before we head on towards the coming straight. DRS wide open here, reaching speeds about 335 kph, as we head down in towards the corner we go, flip the car in. Down to 4th gear, hits the apex, is very nicely too. Don't be too greedy through here, because it can really upset the balance of the car too, and easy to validate as well before we head down into the bars we go. Down through 3rd gear. By the way, Glowstick, CRL, he goes a bit wide there, does Neo. CRL has had a bit of a, tip of performance, it must be said, because we didn't race back in Australia. I don't know where we didn't race last week due to attendance, so that has had a bit of a back step. So I'm not quite sure if CRL is on the cards yet. But Neo now flicking his way in. He took a lot of curb on the outside to launch his way in towards the final chicane. And once again, he used a lot of curb on the outside. So he's really confident at chucking the car in and hoping it sticks. And the car seems like it's on rails so far. This is really good commitment for Neo Steins there in the Kickstarter, using every single part of the racetrack he can get away with before we head down towards Belgium when we go. Speed's about 190 miles an hour, 115 kph. The final 2 corners where everything can be messed up indeed, he flicks the car in. This is where the tyres are at its best in terms of temperature. The tyres will be screaming hot at this stage. But Neo Steins a 40.5, and once again he raises the benchmark again. Kevin Zuderberg 6/10 back with a 41.143. Happy on the P3 with a 41.75. And yeah, Steins is incredible indeed. This is his first time here in SDN. This is his first appearance, and once he's using all the extremities of the racetrack. But Kevin Zuderberg is an F2 or F1 driver in PSGL, and when he's turn up in pace, he's absolutely amazing to watch as well. So is Kick, but Kick has, I dare say, had a lack of performance too, because he's really strong in qualified, but when it comes to longevity pace, he just falls backwards in the race. He struggles to stay within DRS range of somebody in a race too. It's proven by Mexico, Monza, Saudi Arabia, and other tracks where he's just struggled to stay within DRS range. We're quite sure what it is with Kick, but on board when he was driving, a former champion of SDN, I think he was the Season 3 champion of SDN, as Fireblaze goes up into P4. So 3 people on a 41.1. which is quite good news indeed for the race because it's going to be so bunched up and so entertaining, hopefully. What can Kick do in the Williams as he uses all the battery? So the battery has been depleted, but he's popped it into medium mode now. As we see Lucas go over to P2. That's a great qualifier for Lucas considering he's struggling Q1. But Kick, what can he do with the other Williams? He goes up into P2. What a mega lap time. Wow, Kick has finally stepped up to the mark here. He goes up into P2 with a 40.635 as Eric, the championship leader, goes up into P3. And he's somewhat 5 tenths back away from Neo Steins. Only 2 drivers who haven't set a lap time yet in this qualification, which is Sasha and Olai. So those two haven't set a lap time just yet here in qualifying. Maybe have only got 1 set of the soft car powered tyres in their disposal to use, as every single driver makes their way back in the pit lane for the final part of qualifying. And so far, Neo Steins has shown some blistering pace here. It looks a bit overcast. The sun is still out, but I think the clouds are starting to gather in. So maybe rain could be on the way, or maybe just clouds gathering in to cover the track. But we are here at the Arden Forest, where rain is definitely a unpredictability around the circuit. When did it rain last time in Belgium? Was it 2023 in the sprint race? I think it was, when Oscar Piastri was leading, but Verstappen won. 2021 is when we had the cancel race in Belgium. Only 3 laps of racing, and Milan Langer was there too in Belgium. Whoever was there in 2021, I feel so sorry for you because you had to witness a 3-lap snail pace race and a red flag and a cancel race too. And qualifying was the main important part because you did score points. I think every single driver scored points still, but it was reduced points, I think it was. Verstappen went ahead of Russell in P2. That was Williams' first podium since, was it Felipe Massa? No, Lawrence Stroll 2017. That was Williams' last podium. Williams' last podium is also back in Qatar with Carlos Sainz, but I think getting a podium this season for Williams is a bit of a tall order, and way out their jurisdiction to get a podium too, because the car doesn't look that great, unfortunately. Overweight issues as well for Williams. It's a massive shame because they take 1 step forwards and 2 steps backwards, and I'm a Williams supporter. I do love the Williams team, but it's just such a shame to see the outcome of the situation this season. So Ollie is out there for his first flying lap in this qualified session, and he scored a podium back in Jeddah as well. And it came out of nowhere because he has struggled a lot this season in terms of pace and consistency. He's had a few clashes as well this season, and a few spins and a few knocks to the head, but somehow in Jeddah he produced some phenomenal pace and kept up with the leaders and finished in P2 for his first podium of the season. So I wonder how it's going to transform his races now from here on in. There's not a lot of races left to go this season either. Let me go and check the calendar. But that top 2 finish in Saudi has promoted him up towards P9 in the Drivers' Championship. So it has now put him inside the top 10. And I wonder how his pace will go from here on in. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races left to go this season. Well, 7, including this one. So 7 races left to go this season, and nobody seems to be touching Eric so far. Eric has had a big stretch in the championship, and nobody seems to be putting him under all sorts of pressure. But he's under pressure now, but not by his championship rivals, because his closest championship rival is P7 of Fireblaze. So as long as Eric stays consistent, like he said before in the podium interviews, as long as he can stay on the podium every single race, he should be fine. Don't do any sort of silly mistakes. What can the McLaren driver do of Olai as he now approaches the line towards turn 1 he goes? Let's see what his pace is like. But Sasha in P9 hasn't came out just yet either, so we're just waiting for Sasha to come out of the circuit because he's also another driver who hasn't set a lap time. But let's see what the McLaren driver do, as he's probably elated after his podium in Saudi Arabia, so maybe some confidence booster as he climbs up towards Orange. Radio we go, the DRS wide open. Back in 2000, I think it was, we saw Mika Hakkinen, or was it 1998? No, it was 2000 we saw Mika Hakkinen, Schumacher, Zonti go at it in towards the com. Zonti was, of course, a back marker, but Hakkinen overtook Schumacher and won the Grand Prix. 1998, we saw that massive crash between Schumacher and David Coulthard. Schumacher didn't see Coulthard, did he? As we now head towards the corner where those two make contact, Schumacher ploughed into the back of Coulthard. And who won that day? Was it Mika Hakkinen who won that day? Was it the same year? I'm not quite sure who won that year as well, but it was a messy race, obviously, because of what happened going down towards turn two and turn three. Olai has invalidated, and that is at P1. Do you know what? I haven't really seen anybody this session or Q1 and Q2 invalidating P1, so he must have been one of the first drivers who's done it so far in this session. So he has got enough time. I think he's got enough fuel left as well, because that's probably why he came out very early, to have that contingency to go out and do another lap time. That's why he's come out early. So he has that benefit of going for another flying lap. But his tyres at this stage would not be particularly in a great shape. They won't be in the best shape to go for another flying lap as well, because he's already taken some wear out of those stock compound tyres. So Kevin Zunderberg now on board with him. The 10-time race winner last season. He's also won here in Belgium before as well. But let's see what he could do then. Last season champion is climbing up towards the hill of Eau Rouge and Radion. Every single driver in this session. Oh, Kevin! No! Oh, he has invalidated in Radion, and that is his qualification done prematurely. And yeah, it can catch a lot of people out here. But let's go aboard then with our pole sitter as we head down towards turn. Look at the way he flicks the car in, and the car responds as well very nicely too as we exit turn one with the battery being used to have a boost down the straight, climbing towards Eau Rouge and Radion we go. As you can see, take a lot of curb, but don't be too greedy at the top of Rouge, because you catch a lot of people out, as we've seen before with Kevin Zunderberg. DRS wide open for Neo, and interestingly as well, his ERS management, the way he uses it, he doesn't use it down the straight, he saves it towards the latter part, so that's quite interesting in terms of management. But he has messed up slightly, and he has set his personal best in the first sector by 83 hundredths of a second, but he may have messed up slightly going towards the con. So let's see how has that impacted his lap time as we flick our way now towards no name. We go a bit wide there, but still makes it through. Lawrence Stroll, I think, crashed there back in 2023, was it? When it was a sprint weekend, when Lawrence Stroll was on the mini compound tyre in wet conditions, and that was a very silly mistake indeed there for Lawrence Stroll indeed. But Neo Steins then making his way through Vanya, where we saw, I think, was it Mansell, and Senna crashed through there. And now Neo Steins comes towards the end of this middle sector. Despite the slight hiccup in the first sector, he still finds time by 92 hundredths of a second. Then this is going to be another fantastic lap from Neo Steins if try and keep it nice and tidy towards the last part of this racetrack. There is 2 more corners to go, a heavy breaker zone of the Boston chicane left to go, where Rubens Barrichello smashed into the back of Fernando Alonso in 2010. The DRS wide open. Let's see, is the benchmark race? Oh my goodness me, what a mega lap time! A 40.3. Raised the bar once again, and Fireblaze goes up into P3. Lucas P3 now displaces him by 0.3 of a second. Sasha P3. All the drivers come by one. Steins left the session, so he's just set the best lap time and left. But here comes Kick now. What can Kick do? The Williams goes or stays up into P2, does improve by 800 of a second. But what about Hapmel? Hapmel goes up into P6 behind Fireblaze as the Aston Martin Mark slides through in the final corner. And he's a ghost as well, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But that is the end of this qualifying session. And we now move on to the 22 lap race around here. I will take a short break because I need it, because my voice is going already. So I will see you all for the Belgian Grand Prix in a few minutes' time. Stay tuned, but it is Neo Steins on pole. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the race. 20 race around here in Belgium is about to get underway very shortly. Neo Steins has joined by the session. Eric, our championship leader, starts down in P7. Is this an advantage for other people? Maybe like Fireblaze, who could try and claw some points back, as he's out-qualifying him in the qualifying session as well. So it was a great qualifying session from Neo Steins. He dominated Q1, Q2 and Q3, but the race is about to start very, very soon. Alright then, boys, we get racing here in Belgium. The Kickstarter driver gets a lovely start, but I don't think he's showing the sessions. We head down in towards 10. We go, here comes Kick as he takes the lead, and also Sasha, who goes up into P2. The Kickstarter driver isn't back in his car just yet, as the drivers that make their way through turn 1 we go. Lucas is side by side with the Kickstarter as we climb towards Origin, and then the side by side through there. Wow, this is amazing. They're still wheel to wheel and to make it out very cleanly too. So that's very good racing on the first lap of the Grand Prix between those two. And here comes Sasha. Sasha is wheel to wheel with Kick as now he takes the lead of the Grand Prix, headed down in towards the calm. As here comes the Red Bull, steam from the inside. That is Hapmill trying to go for a lunge, and he goes from the inside of Fireblaze too. Remember, those two made contact back at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and it's a spinner already. It is Colin, but down the inside goes Fireblaze as Happy there just defends the outside line. On Neo Steins has got past Kick. How on earth has he done that? He must have got a better exit at the top of turn 7 there, but look at the conditions. It looks a bit cloudy too. Maybe rain. Could be on the circuit very shortly. But Mark is dropped down the order dramatically as well. He's gone down into P16. What is he doing? He's lost so many places and so much ground has been lost for him as he rejoins down to P16. There's his teammate in front of him too. And also the racing ball trying to go side by side. Oh, contact! And Reiki is in a spin as the man who got knocked out in Q1 unfortunately now has tumbled down in 70th place. Colin has had a terrible start too. He's down to P18, but Steins lost 2 places and got past 2 Williams immediately as well, wasting no time behind them. That was superb racing going up towards the hill, and Lucas is right behind his teammate of Kick. Like I mentioned as well in the past, he has struggled in terms of longevity, and Fireblaze is right behind. He's defending from the Mercedes driver who's trying to put the pressure on Happy up into P5. He's ahead of his teammate. Eric has lost 2 places. Eric and Kick are now, Eric and Kevin on the hardcore power tyres. So they go for a long stint as Happy slides through turn 1 there. The real axe of the car just losing it too as he tries to defend from Fireblaze, but the DRS then is wide open on the Camel Straight, so I wonder if we'll see a change at the front. Neo Styles lost the lead on lap 1 turn 1, but he's about to get it back as he has the DRS open and he will fly past the Ferrari driver. Sasha let it happen because he knows there's no point fighting there with the driver behind having DRS, so Sasha just needs to settle in P2 and follow Steins if it's possible. Don't let Steins break away, because if Steins is off the leash and breaks away from the DRS train, that could be bad for him as well. So I think Sasha just needs to follow and try and match the pace of Steins in first place. He has the DRS at the back of him, and it's easy to follow in the DRS train, but I wonder if Steins can use his outright pace and try and pull away. His raw pace has been super fine, and that could define his race too. Look at that, the gap is 7/10 of a second, so he's trying to break away from the DRS. You can see him there, mount off the curves. You can see him, look at that. The way he used the curve on the outside to mount off it and flick his way through in towards these corners is absolutely sensational indeed. I don't know how he does it. But Steins is pulling a 7/10 gap already on Sasha, so that could be bad news there. As we got a VSC. A VSC has been deployed because Leonard finds himself in the wall, the same wall where Antonio Giovinazzi went off as well in 2020? It was 2020 because he took out George Russell too for good measure. So VSC, a short neutralization has been thrown into this race. So VSC means the race speed is increased, the race time is increased by 40%. Why has the Aston Martin stopped? The Aston Martin has stopped and playing around with Colin in the back of the field there. So 80 drivers still in this race, as Colin there was the one that went for a, Leonard there was the one that went for a spin in the Fine Chicane. And it's so easy because you're trying to use a lot of chuck on the outside, but it's very easy as well to dip a wheel in the gravel and therefore lose the rear in the car. So it's a massive shame there for Leonard, who's pitted now to get rid of his hardcore power tyres. But will we see some rain later on in the Grand Prix? Will that galvanise the race? Will that change up the race too, the way it's going? But we'll see. Kevin and Eric on the hardcore power tyres there. But this VSC is taking longer than expected. Sasha needs to have a good response. He can't afford to let Neo Steins out of his sight. He needs to bring that gap down under a second. So the VSC timing has got to be absolutely immaculate there for Sasha. He can't afford to let Neo Steins break away. And some people do try and manipulate the VSC. And there we go, then the VSC has ended, and Sasha's had a terrible restart. The gap is 1.6 seconds, so it's allowed Neo Steins to pull away. And this is what happens under a VSC. Because some people try to manipulate it in terms of trying to race the delta as much as they can and abuse the delta, and some people are too cautious, and Sasha, being too cautious, has left him in the wake of Kick and Lucas and Happy Meal as well. So Neo Steins, the newcomer, the rookie, is now showing the rest of the guys up, the masters of the field, who have been around since season 1, and he's breaking away. The gap is 1.7 seconds, so he's got a sizable gap in first place. And I wonder, this could be a dominant... This is probably the first time we'll see somebody dominate the race this season, because other races prior, they've all got to work for it. But this season, the other guys, this race, I must say, Neo could be very dominant indeed. So the battle for P2 between Sasha, Kick and Lucas is intensifying indeed. Lucas in P4, who scored a podium back in Saudi Arabia, and Kick, who's just been struggling so far this season with lacking pace indeed, but he's back up there in P3, and he's challenging the likes of Sasha as well. Sasha, who scored multiple podiums this season too, is running in a comfortable P2, but he's on a massive threat for the both wheelies behind as looking out the hill. This shot is absolutely amazing indeed, as we see now Kick right step back at Sasha with the DRS wide open. Is the Williams about to take advantage and draw alongside and pull away? He is. He goes up into P2 now, but I don't think he has the outright pace, does he, to try and catch Neo Steins for first place. I think Steins is way out of their jurisdiction to try and catch. So maybe the battle for P2 is the main one to watch out for the whole entire race. Kick's last podium was back at the Hungarian Grand Prix, where he's very strong indeed. So it's been a couple of races since Kick has stepped foot on the podium. His last win was back in Hungary too. So he has had a win this season as Kick, but elsewhere he has been struggling as well to try and stay within the DRS range or something. Maybe Kick can bring that gap down another second, because it's not over yet, you know. The gap was 1.7, now it's 1.3, so Kick showing some pace towards Steins and starting to respond to the pace of the Kick Saber driver. So Kick is trying to get the Kick Saber driver. I do love trying to make a pun now and then, but he is lacking the ERS. Look at Steins' ERS. Sufficient amount of ERS there to play with late in the Grand Prix. Whilst Kick has literally obliterated his ERS management there, and unfortunately for him, he's started to lose the pace. So the gap was like 1.3, now it's 1.7 seconds as well. So that's the ERS there for you. Kick's used a lot of ERS trying to get himself close towards Steins, but unfortunately for him, he started to lose the time towards Steins. And Steins once again setting some accelerated pace, and Kick has set fast up the Grand Prix thanks to the help of DRS. As we head down in towards Tail 1, lap 5 out of 22 indeed. Steins just keeping out of DRS range of the guys behind too, which is going to be pay due diligence for his race later on as well. So I don't know what Kick could do here from here, and then maybe Sasha and Kick try and trade DRS to bring the gap down towards Stein. But here comes Sasha then, flying past Kick as he puts himself back in second place there. And Lucas, however, in P4 is... Oh, Leonard's retired in the pit lane. So no safety car will be activated in this race. Where's Kevin? Down to P9. So Kevin and Eric are starting to lose ground towards the guys in front. And they're on the hardcore power tyre, so maybe later in the Grand Prix, that's when the pendulum will swing their way. But at this stage, they will be struggling. Shiba Gamer has a gas. Have made up some good ground too. Shiba Gamer is inside the top 10, just behind Kevin Soderberg on those medium car power tyres. Hatakas made up 3 places too. He's up into P11. But the gap staying stable. So, Hatakas gets a 3-second time penalty in this race already. So not a good sign there for him. Has been exploiting the track limits around here in Belgium, which is easy to do. But the gap's been stale so far between first and second place, between Sasha and Steins. That VSC cost him dearly as well, and that could define his race later on the Grand Prix as well. I wonder what implications that could have. But Steins' outright pace has been too much to handle for the likes of Sasha, Kick and Lucas. They can't keep within DRS range of Steins. He's pulled away after he lost the lead. I thought the race would be very interesting when he got dropped into P4, but he made his way through quickly as well, left no crumbs on the table and took the lead away as quickly as he could and pulled the gap as well. He made a very stunning move down the inside of Kick in towards Ravage, and I'm not quite sure how that happened. I missed it. I can't believe I missed it, but oh well. Ricky Yu has dropped down the order in P17, so I wonder if he's going to... Oh, he's fighting along with Colin there. I hope these guys keep it nice and clean. We know... I don't mind if they fight amongst each other for the whole race. I don't care what they do. Just don't cause a safety car, because we've had a thing this season where some people in this league have caused a purposeful safety car. I don't care if those two have a fight all day long in P6 and P7. I don't care if they trade DRS or go wheel to wheel or make contact, because they're in a fight of their own. They're way at the back of the field. So I don't mind I don't care what they do. Just don't crash into each other and don't cause safety car. That's the thing I asked for. Fight as hard as you want, but just don't cause a safety car. But back towards the top in the field then, it is still Neo Steins, who leads, and Sasha there, a bit flirty with the track limits too, so maybe fits a warning there. I think he just got away with it for the time being. But it's easily done around here. This track is 7 kilometers long and it's super difficult as well. When the mini-compound tyres start to degrade, these drivers will start sliding around and struggle too. So they can be very, very cautious of track limits on the exit too. Track limits can really catch a lot of people out. But Eric is right behind Olai. The gap is 5 tenths. Maybe the hard compound tyres then are starting to maybe get in their own. And he's right at the back of Olai, headed down in towards the Buster chicane we go. This is the outcome of this race. This is the norm, what you'll see in league racing, because it's difficult. Oh, in the pit lane goes Lucas. That's an early pit stop. He has pulled the undercut early in this Grand Prix. You don't want to be doing a two-stop strategy, because a two-stop strategy, you just waste abundance amount of time. You just waste all that time. So a two-stop is definitely off the cards there, but Lucas is in the pit lane. I think it signifies that there'll be no rain, because if there is rain, then surely stay out later, but I don't think rain will be impacting the circuit. But here goes Kick then, with the DRS wide open, and Kick once again flies past. Does he now? I think Sasha has a bit more ERS there, but Kick then flies past the forward driver, goes up into P2. Fireblaze is right behind Happy Meal. He takes advantage of the side by side in towards the Colmy go. It's super tight between these two, and they're almost making contact there, but Fireblaze and muscles him up into people, but Happy Meal stays around the outside as we head downhill, plunging down the hill to Forge. Happy Meal a bit late to the brakes there, but Fireblaze is sticking his nose in there. These two have a bit of history in Saudi Arabia and also Japan too, but Fireblaze has now muscled his way up into P4. That's a great move, and he took advantage of Happy Meal, because Happy Meal did not have the DRS at the back of Lucas, because the DRS train got disconnected and separated once Lucas pitted, and what Happy Meal took advantage of that. He puts himself up as a P4, but somebody has gone for a spin down there where Alonso spun back in 2010. He crashed in I think in that race too, when it was wet conditions, and smashed in the wall. That's the same year where Button and Vettel made contact in 2010 as well. 2010 Belgium Grand Prix was a mega race indeed. I think it was Hamilton who still won that race. Olai is right at the back of Happy Meal. Here we go then. Is this a move on for the McLaren driver? He has a bit more overspeed in comparison to the Red Bull driver, but maybe trying to go around the outside there, but not enough grip or space. As, oh, he cuts the ball out there too. That could be a penalty heading his way, depending on what the rules are. But all these guys, they're making a trip in the pit lane to get rid of the medium compound tyre, to fit the hard compound tyre on. And I wonder, will Lucas get the undercut on his teammate and also Sasha as well? Well, Sasha is still out there for one more lap. But where will Lucas fit in this equation? He's coming towards the start of the straight, down towards turn 1, and surely would he get the undercut on the guys ahead? Does he? No, he doesn't. He rejoins behind his teammates, so the undercut hasn't worked for him in terms of beating his teammate. Fireblaze had a massive slide out of turn 1 there. Massive wheel spin for the Mercedes driver, who exits the pit lane now in clean air. Here goes Lucas then gaining and gaining on his teammates as we go wheel to wheel, as Lucas now puts himself up into P7 ahead of Kick. I wonder if these two might start to work together in harmony to try and get Sasha. Maybe Neo Steins is a bit too far away, but in terms of a double Williams podium, it's not off the table. So I think both Williams could work together. Sasha could be in a bit of a predicament too, because I think Kick and Lucas might get the undercut on Sasha, and therefore Sasha rejoins behind both Williams, and he's stuck behind both of them through the second part of this race. So it's not really a good script developing for Sasha in P2, because he might rejoin behind both Williams drivers. The hardcore power time runners in P3 and P4 and P5 and P6 are not really making any progress there. The hard to beat strategy is not the best one indeed, because you've got to take the hardcore power tires a long way. Plus, with the lap counter being so short, with 22 laps in this race, you don't really have enough time to make your way through the field and gain those positions, as Steins and Sasha are finally in the pit lane to dispose of the mini compound tyres and put on the hard compound tyres. Now, I think Stein will reach in the first place, but in terms of Lucas, I think they might jump Sasha. So Sasha is the one to watch out for once he exits the pit lane. And where will he slot in the mix between Lucas and Kick? These two are headed down towards Tier 1. Sasha is slowly but surely making his way to the pit lane. There is Steins in the foreground, and I don't think they can get towards Steins. Maybe the DRS will happen. Will Lucas get the DRS? No, he's too far away, but Sasha has rejoined in P8, and this is a bit of conundrum there for Sasha. I'll talk about it later, because right now, I think Kevin and Eric are first, second there. This has not really been a spectacular race for Eric. He's usually towards the top of the field, but maybe this is one of the races where he's just not strong at indeed. But an Aston Martin has gone for a little bit of a spin down there, as the other Aston Martin has been shuffled into P13. Yeah, so this is an odd race for Eric because we usually see him towards the top of the field, but here in Spa he seems to be struggling so far in terms of pace, as Mark will try and go for a move down the inside, but there's not enough space to do so. But the Sauber does go a bit deep. This is a risky move for Mark because contact can be easily made indeed, but the Kick Sauber driver to stay front for the time being. So, lap 9 out of 22, these guys will continue to extend and prolong their first stint on the hard compound tyres because it's way too early to pit for the mini compound tyres. Miles Mackis there putting Khatikas under massive pressure. I dare say Miles Mackis and Eric and Khatikas and Kevin are all out of place really. They're not really in the same race as the guys behind you, because these guys, of course, the hard to be the strategy is just not really a favourite strategy, must be said, because it's just so difficult. Lucas is trying to get himself in the DRS range of Neo Steins, but he's just outside of it, maybe inside of it, but I'm not quite sure if he can try and get underneath the 1 second mark. And if he does, then Neo Steins could be under a little bit of pressure from the two Williams behind us. Sasha, though, is losing time towards Kick, and he's in the clutches of Fireblaze. Maybe Fireblaze could be on course for a P4, a net P4 in this Grand Prix. Miles Mackis gets past Khatikas, goes up into P3 ahead of the Dutchman, but the two Williams drivers are about to swap places. Kick has the DS to back of Lucas. Lucas, I think, will let him go because there's no point fighting the inevitable, and Kick will slip through up into P6 ahead of his teammates. And what about Fireblaze in P9? Can't get past Sasha. He's still behind him. Fireblaze, I think, is searching for his 5th podium of the season, and somebody has become a cropper down towards turn 1. I think it's one of the guys in the back of the field. It is Ricky Yu and TV Chanel. They're just messing about. I don't mind these guys messing about the back of the field. Just don't cause a VSC or a safety car. Just, yeah, don't be stupid indeed. But Reno gets past Tim as he moves up into P15 ahead of the Ferrari driver. Tim making his return back to SDN after a long drought away. He usually finishes at the top 10, but here in Belgium it seems to be far away for him. These are the leaders of the Grand Prix then, the people that start on the hard compound tyres, which is Eric, Kevin, Mel's and Khatikas. These guys, of course, have a pitted you to oh, Neo's dropped backwards, and Kick is up into P5. What on earth happened there? Neo surely must have made a mistake. He must have made a mistake in Stavelo. I can't believe I missed that. Sorry about that. But as we head down towards the Buster Cane, has this race changed now? Well, the gap was over a second, and I think Neo must have made a slight mistake at the exit of Stavelo, and now he's behind Kick. Maybe both Williams could box in Neo Steins and try and work together to try and stop this man winning the race. What could the two Williams do against the Kick Sauber? But once again, Neo Steins, who was dominating and now finds himself in a fight for the net lead of the Grand Prix, is side by side with the Williams once again, as the DRS enables, and he slides past him, goes up into P5 ahead of Kick. We're halfway in towards this race, and this fight could be spiced up now towards the end between these guys. Sasha is trying to get himself back in DRS range. He's under massive pressure from Fireblaze. I think Fireblaze, with the tyre advantage, he needs to overtake Sasha now before Sasha gets in DRS range of Lucas and Kick, because if Sasha gets the DRS back of Lucas, then Fireblaze won't be able to progress forwards and fight Lucas and Kick. So I think it's very important now for Fireblaze to get past Sasha but I don't think he can. But Sasha is almost in DRS range of Lucas then, so I think the time is almost up for Fireblaze to get past the Ferrari driver. He's had chances, but Fireblaze was not able to get past the Ferrari driver. So Ferrari driver straight line speed, I think it's been too much for the Mercedes driver. Kevin and Eric there in first and second place, just following each other, not fighting too hard, knowing that if they fight so hard, that means there's a lot more hard work to do on the mini-car power tyres in terms of catching up. So these guys, once again, still up there on the hardcore power tyres. Just hope for a safety car. Maybe not now, maybe a little bit later. More importantly for Kick, he's able to stay within DRS range then. So maybe a fight for the lead of the Grand Prix, the net lead of the Grand Prix, could be brewing between these guys. Neo Steins, whoa, he sets fast up the Grand Prix despite making a mistake in the lap before. So this is getting really interesting now between these guys. And Sasha just can't see to get DRS range of Lucas then. So once again, he'll be under pressure from the man behind, which is Fireblaze. And man that steals podiums now and then. And the Haas has gone for a spin down there. So the DRS is over for Kick. What will he do? Will he follow Neo Steins or overtake him right now? Maybe he might use the DRS to back him to save the battery, because he's used a lot of battery in the last few laps of the Grand Prix. So this could be a big chance for him. Save battery and attack later on as well. Hopefully for Neo, he doesn't make any more mistakes, because that mistake has put him on the back foot a little bit too, and in the clutches of the two Williams drivers, whilst his teammates should be gave a side by side. Oh, contact between the two! Oh my goodness me! As he spins off there, where Verstappen spun in 2021 in Belgium. I think it was in the practice session, wasn't it? And Super Gamer there makes contact with Mark. The door was closed firmly in his face, and he won't be happy with that one either. So 10 laps to go in the Grand Prix. His teammate has suffered. Now Sasha is almost in DRS range of Lucas. He's pushing ever so hard to get himself within that touching distance of DRS there. The magical 1 second mark you need to get that rear wing open in a letterbox, but too far back, it must be said. What's that phrase? What is that phrase? I just forgot it. There's that phrase where it's yet so close, yet so far. It's reworded differently, but I can't remember what it is. My brain's a bit haywire today. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But anyways, focus on the battle for first place. Well, the net lead of the Grand Prix. Neo Steins has an 8th advantage ahead of Kick. The Kick, once again, struggling to reach Steins. Steins' pace has been too punishing so far for the guys behind, but he's made mistakes himself. I'm not sure if it was a mistake. It must have been, sure. I don't think he lost like a second for no reason in the final sector. It must have been a mistake. I don't want to assume it, but I'm going to assume it. Yeah, I think Kick, Eric, and Miles and Hazakas are just in a predicament on the hardcore power tyres there, because there is limited laps left to go in the race. Once they pit, there's about 7 laps left to go in the Grand Prix when they make their pit stop, and it's not enough time to try and bring that deficit down between the guys ahead. They're limited on time as well. They just have no options, and that's the problem. That's the conundrum you have on the hardcore power tyres, or start on the hardcore power tyres, because you need to take them a long distance as well to ensure that the mini-car power tyres have enough life in them left in the Grand Prix. But looks like TVHNL, oh please, just don't be idiots guys, just keep it nice and clean. Like I said, just do whatever you want, but don't cause a VSC and safety car. Just have fun at the back of the field. But the reason why I'm sceptical about this, because purposeful safety cars have been caused before. So I really hope that this doesn't happen, because we want this race to be plain sailing. We don't want unnecessary safety cars on the circuits, because that will ruin everything. Well, maybe not ruin it for the hardcore power tyre runners, but for the people who work so hard and see a safety car come out for no reason, it's just devastating and frustrating, because you've done all that hard work and a safety car comes out inconvenient time. It's fair play if somebody crashes it and loses it, and then it's a different story, isn't it? But once again, Stein showing some blistering pace in the Kick Sauber. He's broke away from the DRS of Kick, so despite his mistake earlier on, he's rectified it and put it to bed. All I guess past Happy Meal. Happy Meal's lost a lot of time. So let me get this straight. Happy Meal was behind Fireblaze at one point, but it looks like Happy Meal's just lost a lot of time, and now Ollie's gone through and he's rejoined on the P11, so something's gone wrong for Happy Meal there. But Sasha is right behind Lucas. Here we go then. DRS wide open, and Sasha splits both Williams drivers. So he puts himself up into P7 there, and Kick could be on for the taking too. I'm surprised that both Williams drivers didn't work together to keep each other in DRS range and keep Sasha at bay, but no. It seems like both Williams drivers have different ideas, and seems to be in different races too, because Sasha now is going to be threatening Kick's podium. Well, Kick will finish in P2 or P3 depending where Sasha ends up, because these guys at the field, at the top end of the field, have yet to pit in this race. They haven't pitted just yet to make their one-stop mandatory. But there's massive fights going on the back of the field there. There is still 17 drivers left in this race, but they're all getting tangled up and in contact as well of each other. But Stevan and Mark there swapping places, but they're ghosted inside of each other. Stevan goes back through on Mark, up the inside in towards Braun. I think they just had a bit of fun, aren't they? Not really serious, just had a bit of fun. Why not, really? But yes, Mark is now up to P11 ahead of Stevan. Neo Steins is not too far away from our leaders at the top end of the field there, and Eric Kick have finally pitted, so as Miles Backes too. And oh, Kevin Zuckerberg has got a 10-second time penalty. Oh my god, he's retired too. A shame for Kevin, a massive shame there, but I really hope Kevin can come back stronger later, because we know he's got blistering pace. He's had a bit of a sabbatical in the last few races, a bit of a break. So once he finally gets going again, once he tries to get the ring rust away from him, he should be back to where he should be. So yeah, Kevin Zuckerberg is out of the Grand Prix, and yeah, it's a shame, but it's nice to see him back. Me and him are good friends, of course. We met each other. We met each other in real life as well in the past. Yeah, Kevin Zuckerberg is out of this race. Mark is now up into P11 ahead of State. Oh no! Steven's on the Grand Prix, crashed, and a safety car has been deployed. A safety car has been deployed. He has crashed in Eau Rouge and Radion, and this has now thrown the cat amongst the pigeons in this race. This has really changed everything now, and we'll see what happens during the course of the Grand Prix. Olai has... What are you doing, mate? Why have you speeded... Why? It's unnecessary penalties like this that cost you the race massively as well. And he has got a drive-through penalty indeed. Do you know what? Imagine, can you just imagine if the hardcore part-time was like had to cast it out there for one more lap? Just imagine if Kevin, Eric and the rest of them stood there for one more lap. They could have like had a big advantage, because the whole field would have been bunched up and they would have been on the mini-cup part tyres too for good measure. What's happening to Olai? Well, it looks like Olai is quitting here in this race because of that penalty he's got with the VSC, but it looks like Happy or maybe got a illegal overtake on him. I tell you what though, it's worked in, you know what, it has worked in Hartikas's hands, because everybody behind him is pitted. Hartikas will lead the Belgian Grand Prix. But do you know what the downside is? He's got a 3-second time penalty. Just imagine if that safety car came out one lap earlier. Then that means the guys who didn't pitch just yet would have took track position. That would have been absolutely sensational. Eric got up into P2. Eric is now up into P2 ahead of Stein. I wonder if Mark and Stefan had contact with Eau Rouge and Radion. That is a possibility. That could have been a possibility indeed. We did see the two that off the track in Eau Rouge and Radion, so those two made contact unfortunately and sent Stevan out of the Grand Prix. So a safety car, a late safety car, has really now spiced things up in this race. And what will happen now? Neo Stein's Kick, Sasha Fireblades on the new hardcore pod tyre. So could Eric be in a big shot to win this Grand Prix? The man that was nowhere in this race all of a sudden is now up into P2 and potentially has a chance to win this Grand Prix. Those mini compound tyres don't have to do a lot of distance. I think Eric could be in a big shot to win this Grand Prix. His big challenger is the guy behind him, Steins. You know what, if Steins doesn't win this Grand Prix, I better be so frustrated, because he has dominated qualifying Q1, Q2 and Q3. He's dominated this race, showed some tremendous pace, but with the safety car coming out, he could be in the back foot a little bit, because Eric in P2 is on a new set of mini compound tyres, and those tyres should make the distance too. So Eric has a big chance to be either on the podium or the win. But I dare say the podium is the minimum, surely, for Eric in P2. I think he needs to try and dispatch Hartikas in first place if he can. do you know what? Gas leading the Grand Prix. His last win was at the Spanish Grand Prix 2 seasons ago. That was a long, long time ago since his last win. And as well, if you remember, he got knocked out in Q2 that day. Started P11, finished in first place. And now he's in the Grand Prix again after being knocked out in Q2. So he's definitely not going to win the Grand Prix due to that penalty he has over his head. But I wonder now, could Eric have a big, big shock? The tables have turned for Eric in P2. The pendulum has swung towards his way. And a chance for a victory is high. But the likes of Steins, who has been super, super consistent and quick in this race, has been a threat all day long, could be the one to take away Eric's win. But Olai and Mels Makis are swapping places there for some reason. Not quite sure why, so a bit of a shenanigans going on there between these two. But I can't wait till the safety car goes in because one, I want my takeaway because it's right here, and two, it's going to be an interesting end towards this race. I really hope so as well. Every single driver as well has had to work hard in this race, but Eric in P2, he's got a big chance to try and extend his championship lead ahead of Fireblaze. Fireblaze was hoping to get some points back on Eric, but the pendulum has swung back towards his way, and now he could be the one taking points away from Fireblaze too. Eric said that as long as he finishes on the podium, he should be fine every single race for the championship. He knows that he doesn't have to win every race now. He could try. He doesn't. I don't say relax because you can't relax in a high situation like this. You've got to be on your A game all the time, especially when the grid is just so competitive. The pace is high as well, so there's no need. You can't relax whatsoever in this race. But yeah, he knows his main objective is to finish on the podium every single time. So Olai didn't pit. I think he served his drive-through penalty. Can you serve a... No, you can't. So how on earth did Olai not jump the guys in the pit lane? I think it was too far back. You can't serve a drive-through penalty under a safety car. You can with a 10-second penalty, but you can't serve a drive-through. And that's a big blunder for his race because once the safety car comes in, he's got to serve his drive-through towards the end of the race. Well, Glowstick, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. An unexpected guest to have in this stream, but of course me and him, well, how long have we known each other now? About 5-6 years. Unbelievable indeed. It's been a long time since we've known each other, and we've also commentated with each other too. The Scotsman and the Englishman have been together as well. Majority, every single person in this league, in this lobby, sorry, is Dutch, barring someone is Belgian, except every single driver here is Dutch basically. And ironically, you've got a commentator who's English commentating for this. It's kind of weird. It's kind of funny, sorry, but it is what it is. These guys don't mind that they have an English commentator because they rather some of them prefer English commentators than Dutch commentators. So yeah, they don't mind that they have an English commentator. The first ever time I commentated for this league was back in 2024. In December, November, Fireblaze introduced me to this league, and I was very, very nervous because every single person here was Dutch, German, or Belgium, and I was very nervous indeed because I didn't think these guys would welcome me. I was basically a stranger and outsider to this lobby, to this league, and I was very nervous indeed. But after my first full season, every single person in this league has appreciated me, and they've enjoyed my commentary as well, so I really appreciate them because I always get nice comments from these guys as well. So I appreciate every single driver in this lobby for all the nice comments as well, making me feel welcome and comfortable because I was very uncomfortable when I first joined. What's Neo Steins doing? Trying to unsettle Eric in P2. Can we talk after this race if you're not busy? No worries if not. What time is it? 8 o'clock. I'll let you know after this race because I want to eat I've got my takeaway here, so I want to get through that because it is cold right now. I ordered at the wrong time. I was eating a few chips. Kick. What those two are doing there? What's happened here? So Steins has dropped backwards into P6 now. Surely that's an illegal overtake for those guys ahead. What on earth is going on here? Do these guys not know how to do a safety car? A kick! What on earth is going on in this race now? some guys are here are just playing with fire, unfortunately. Did Neo Steins make a mistake on that safety car and Kick overtook and got himself a 10-second substitute, and he's been dropped backwards into P6 as well, so a big chance for him winning is now slipping through his grasp here as well. It's not the usual scenes you see here in SDN, it must be said. So safety car is finally in. It felt like a long time since the safety car came out, but I was eating my chips as well. I can't wait till this race ends because I'm very hungry indeed. I'm very thirsty because I've barely had anything to drink, so apologies about my dry voice. But let's see then what happens through this last 3 laps of the Grand Prix. This will be a sprint race all the way to the end, and things will get very chaotic as well. You know what happens when a safety car comes out towards the latter end pot at the end of the Grand Prix? Things will just turn on its head massively. Every single driver weaving to get the extra bit of temperature in their tyres before the safety car comes in. And we can get racing once again then here in Belgium. The last 3 laps will be electrifying indeed. What will happen in these last 3 laps of the Grand Prix as the safety car is now in towards the end of this lap? As the drivers follow their way through the Buster chicane we go. No DRS of course, you can't overtake until the yellow flag, oh, what's happened in the background there? Who is that? Is that Miles Makis, who's on the massive slide, and now happy all side by side with him? But now he goes down the inside in towards Tail 1. Later breaks his contact, like there was with Verstappen and Raikkonen back in 2019. But here comes Eric, climbing up towards the hill he goes. He's right at the back of Hatakas. This is a big chance for Eric to win again. And he's right at the back of him to go side by side as we head down towards the Camel Straight we go, through Rivarge. And Eric takes the lead of the Grand Prix in towards the calm. Wow, who on earth would have expected him to win the Grand Prix? Nobody whatsoever. He was not in a place or a chance to win the Grand Prix until the safety car came out. This has worked in his hands, and once again, an extended championship lead. But Neo Steins is fighting back for the field, and Olai has dropped backwards into P15. He's got his driver put into serve as well for good measure. So, yeah, his race has gone from bad to worse. But Neo Steins, I'm not quite sure how on earth he's lost this race, because this should have gone to his hands. He should have won this race easily with the pace he had, but that safety car's really cost him indeed. I'm not quite sure how on earth it's gone bad for him as well, because it looked like he should have won the Grand Prix, but yeah, things just happened in the race, and it'll be absolutely devastating indeed. You know what, Fireblaze could get a podium. Like I said, the aside is that, you know, every single time Fireblaze finds himself in a podium chance out of nowhere indeed, but can he keep Neo Steins behind? That's the question. And Lucas is right behind the Kickstarter driver too. He got caught up on that double stack during the safety car. He's in the pit lane. He's in the pits, and I think he could retire from this race. He is. You know what? Questions will be asked. How on earth has this race gone bad to worse? Because it was plain sailing. He had the pace, he had nothing to worry about. Then all of a sudden, bang, it goes wrong like that in an instant. But Hadzikas, do you know what? Is there a chance for Hadzikas to get a podium? Because the gap between him and Kick is 2.1 and 2.7 towards Sasha. Maybe not. I don't think Hadzikas could be in a chance for a podium. He's on the mini compound tyres, so maybe using the compound tyres to his advantage. But Miles Makis is contact between him and Lucas. They both got the track together in sympathy. And Miles Makis now goes up into P6. This has been a messy race, and Mark, for some reason, has spun on the camera straight. Colin goes up into P11 ahead of TVHNL. Ricky Yu is inside the top 10. So the drivers who got knocked out in Q1 are now inside the top 10. Olai has crashed as well. He's out of the Grand Prix. I'm just so confused and baffled to how everything just unfolded in the last few laps of the Grand Prix, because everything changed. Hadzikas could get his first podium of the season. He's trying to pull a gap over Kick, but his main target is Sasha P4. I think Hadzikas, he's got to work with Eric. There is no point fighting Eric. Stay on the back of him, use it for DRS, and try and pull away from the guys behind on the hardcore power tyres, because these mini-car power tyres shouldn't be too bad, especially with the safety car. So this could be a big chance as Miles Makis gets past Fireblaze. Fireblaze made a big mistake. Oh no! A chance for a podium now for him has completely gone out the window for him as well. Miles Makis is on the mini-car power tyre, so maybe that's why Fireblaze let his teammate go. They worked well back in Mexico together, because Fireblaze let Miles Makis go to win ahead of Eric. Come on, Jens, let's get a podium. It's going to be his first podium of the season since last season in Abu Dhabi, which was the final race of the season too. And Hatakas has got the gap over 3 seconds. Don't fight him. I don't think there's no chance. There's no point fighting. These people left and right, but don't slow down too much because the gap will be under 3 seconds. Mark has crashed out of the Grand Prix. I tell you what would have been wise is for Hatakas to overtake Eric and trade DRS because those two are clearly working together. Eric knows that Hatakas is not a threat because of that penalty. But I think Hatakas should have let him, I think he should have gone past Eric because he lost a bit of time there just stopping on the straight and weaving and slowing down. But Sasha, what is he going to do in P4? What is he going to do? I thought the best possible chance for him to overtake Kick right now on that straight to try and bring the gap down, but no, for some reason he has decided to stay behind him. I think Hatakas will get a podium in this race, and what a race for him. He needed that so much as well. After all the struggles he's gone through in the past few races, after all the bad luck, he needed a change in fortune, and here in Belgium, unexpectedly, it's happened. Miracles can happen one way or another, and it has certainly happened here in Belgium. But look at this, Miles Makis is right behind Sasha as well. These guys are fighting for P3. Miles Makis, a bit late the brakes there. He's limited compound tyres. He's optimistic to get through, but this could be a ding-dong battle for the final lap of the Grand Prix in Belgium. Everything, they've had a major twist and turn in this race, and it's not done just yet. It hasn't finished just yet because there's still a battle for the final spot on the podium for P3. Miles Makis, after his bad qualifying, is trying to make a comeback and recovery drive, but he's too far away from Sasha. Sasha will probably take a kick, but Hatakas is weaving left and right saying, I'm not going to fight Eric because there's no point. And we can see that here comes Sasha as he overtakes Kick for P3. But remember, the battle's not done just yet because things could happen still at the Buster chicane. Miles has been in a couple of tyres, maybe still in good shape and better grip, and may have a chance of trying to get P3 from Sasha and Kick. But Eric, once again, what a fantastic drive from the Dutchman. Just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, things have worked in his favour. This will be his 5th win of the season. Eric has been in fine form so far. He hasn't had the best of it so far in Belgium. It hasn't been an expected race for him where he's led out and control the pace. No, he's had to work hard for it. He's had to come through the field, and all of a sudden things just work together. The pieces were puzzled, and it's just worked in his favour. How on earth is Jens low on fuel? The safety cars came out, and he's low on fuel. But here we go then, no fighting down towards the Buster chicane because he knows he can't afford to waste time, knowing Sasha could got a penalty. But look at this, Eric towards the final corner. What a drive from the Dutchman. He comes across the line to win the Belgian Grand Prix, and Jens is back at the podium for the first time since Belgium, Abu Dhabi last year. And Sasha finishes P3. Wow, what an unexpected result. Things could change on his head once the safety car comes. Oh! Yeah, things could change on his head once the safety car comes out. It's hard being a solo commentator, not gonna lie. I've not done it for a long time. But let me get the drivers for a podium interview. So, the top 3, the Dutch people, have been invited to the podium interview, and hopefully we can hear what they've got to say. I know Eric is 50-50 about podium interviews, he's sceptical about him. I want to hear from Sasha, because I haven't spoken to him for such a long time. I want to hear from also Sasha, Hatakas as well. I really hope we can hear from the top three because it looks like nobody wants to join me for a podium interview, which is sad. So thank you, Eric. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Khatikas. But well, that is it then for the Belgian Grand Prix. It was a chaotic one indeed, and it definitely didn't disappoint us. But we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now, and join us back for the Spanish Grand Prix. And Milan Langer should be back with me next week in Spain. We'll see you all later. Goodbye for now. Take care. Carvagna.